And he's like, well, it sounds like you have reflex sympathetic dystrophy. So we are about to head out. Grace is still asleep on the bed. She is not coming with us today. But yeah, I'm about to get my bag packed. It is currently like 5:40 a.m. It's still dark outside and we are about to leave. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my bag packed and we'll be heading out. Hey guys, we are at the hospital. Mom's grabbing my wheelchair right now. And yeah, we're about to go inside the hospital and go see my doctors. I'm in a lot of pain. My pain's probably at a 7 right now. So yeah, let's do this. Okay, so we just got out of the hospital. I'm in a car so I can take this off. It always gets caught. Okay. Got a new diagnosis. Hey guys, so I never really thought I'd be making this video. I went to my specialist yesterday. Let me start off by saying this. 5 years ago, not long after my back surgery, I started having some issues with numbness and tingling in my hand, my right hand. So I was referred to neurology after I saw my surgeon again for my back, and they started looking and couldn't find anything, and a while later they did an x-ray of my back just for a checkup, and they found a cervical rib. So if you don't know, a cervical rib is an extra rib in your neck, cervical area. And sometimes they can be harmless, but in my case it wasn't. So it was pinching on nerves, and I did nerve conduction tests, which, let me tell you, are awful. And we went through the whole process, and then I was diagnosed with thoracic outlet syndrome, which is basically like the pinching of nerves and blood vessels in the cervical area because of a cervical rib. So they determined that it needed to be taken out. It was dangerous because when I lift my right arm above my head, I have no pulse, which means no blood flow to or from my brain. Well, a few months later, they found out that if I lift my arms above my head, I had no pulse in both hands. And they didn't have a reason for that because the cervical rib is on the right side. But they determined that it was time to take it out. So I went to a neurosurgeon, and well, he worked with his team. It was going to be a very risky, dangerous surgery. It was going to be very, very big, so they planned for it for 2 years. And then another year passes, and then eventually he stops answering our calls, and the pain gets worse, and I start having complete numbness in my hands, and I drop things, and I can't do anything, and it's just extremely painful all the time. And then we hit the 4-year mark, and I was supposed to have the surgery already, and I just keep telling everybody, oh, it's going to happen soon, because that's what he tells us. That's what his nurses tell us. And at that point, he's not answering any of our calls, any of our messages. His nurses won't answer our calls and messages, so we'll make another appointment. And he cancels it. We'll make another appointment, and he cancels it. And we finally get in to see him, and he comes in, and first thing he says is, well, we don't want to do the surgery because it's going to be too risky. And then he turns around after 30 minutes of contradicting himself and he says, and truth be told, you don't actually have it. And that makes no sense whatsoever for him to not want to do the surgery just because it's risky and then turn around and say that I don't actually have it. You don't misdiagnose someone like that for 4 years after 4 years of research all the time. He was looking over x-rays all the time, all of my MRIs. In that time, I was doing tons of x-rays and MRIs and nerve conduction studies, and I was doing everything. And then he just comes out of the blue and says that it doesn't actually exist. They were wrong. And it just didn't add up. Something was not right. So I go see my primary, and she's like, no, something's not right. So we go see a neurologist this time. This was a year ago. I go see my neurologist. I go in. He talks to us for a bit, and he's like, look, he said, I'm going to be completely honest. There's nothing I can do for you. You have extreme nerve pain almost everywhere in your body. And this is why, from a brachial plexus injury, which is the cervical rib. And there's just not a lot I can do for you. And who sent you to me? So we told him that it was the neurosurgeon. And he immediately gets so angry. He's like, I don't understand why he would send you to me, because if there is no true cervical rib at all whatsoever, no thoracic outlet syndrome, then there's nothing I can do. So something else that was really concerning during this time is that the neurosurgeon told us that I had a stenosis in my carotid artery, which is dangerous, very, very dangerous. And we didn't know what to do for that because he wouldn't help us. And I was not seeing a cardiologist at the time. So fast forward to 2 months ago, I started having extreme nerve pain in my arm. It felt like stabbing, and then it felt like my hand was being crushed. Like literally just crushed. For years, I have told my mom that my vertebrae in like the mid neck area to mid back feel like somebody's just like crushing them down, just pressing them down. And it's very, very painful. When it gets this bad, I can't walk, I can't move. I just kind of just lay in my bed and do nothing because it's that bad. And lately that's happening more often. So it's taking away my freedom. And I'm already using mobility aids, and now it's getting to the place that I can't hardly use the crutches. So that leaves me to relying on a wheelchair at 17 years old. So we make another appointment with neurology, and I start looking for some answers through some of my friends on social media, and they all come to the conclusion that it sounds like I might have a very specific condition, which is very, very rare and hard to diagnose. And I was in complete denial. Yesterday was that appointment. I go in yesterday, and by the time we drove from DeQuincy to New Orleans, I could not walk. I could not use my hand. It was bad. So I'm in my wheelchair, and I can't even push myself in the wheelchair. My mom had to literally push me in the wheelchair. And we go into the appointment, and we wait, and he comes in, and he spends an entire hour going through my medical history again and again, and my medication, and making sure he knows what he's talking about first. And then he turns and he's like, okay, tell me the symptoms. So I start telling him about the crushing bone pain and the sharp shooting needles in my hand and in my leg. And he's like, well, it sounds like you have reflex sympathetic dystrophy, which is the old name for complex regional pain syndrome, also known as CRPS. And my heart literally just dropped because he just kind of confirmed my worst fears. So he talked to me a little bit more about the pain, and we determined that I do have complex regional pain syndrome. So Then he turned around and he said, and in 20 years of being a doctor, you are the 4th person that I've diagnosed. Only the 4th. It's very, very rare. So rare, in fact, that he doesn't even know everything about it. He's sending me to specialists, more specialists. So we're starting treatment immediately to stop the spread. And in the meantime, I have to do everything that I can at home to stop this from spreading. We've determined that I've only had it for about 2 months. That's when it started. And they say that if you can diagnose it within the first 3 months and start treatment, then that there is more of a chance that you'll go into remission. So that's our goal. I have a new diagnosis that I don't know how to deal with. I've already gotten tons of messages for support groups and just the absolute love and understanding that's been poured out to me since yesterday is it's amazing, and I'm so grateful for all of that. I just really don't know how else to react. I kind of just want to scream and cry, and at the same time I'm really happy that I know what's going on, but this was the last thing that I expected. But yeah, I don't want this to all be so doomy and gloomy, because I'm gonna be okay. I'm gonna make it through this, and I'm gonna be fine. I know that much. I have so many people helping me out right now, and it's gonna be okay. It's just gonna be really difficult for the time being. And so yeah, I apologize for the lack of posting. I really do. I'm sorry for all the long talking at the end of this, but I know I feel part of me kind of needs this right now. I love you guys, and thanks for all the support and the love, and I promise my upcoming videos are not going to be this sad and gloomy, but I feel like this was a necessary update, and it's a big part of, it will be a big part of my life for a little bit, and just need a little bit of time to process it. But yeah, anyway, I love you guys so much, and thanks for tuning in, and I will see you guys probably early next week. Bye, everybody.